Theoretically, if you caused a major crash at the Tour de France and were now on the run, what would you do to assure you aren't caught? What is my perfect crime? I fuck up the Tour de France. Do I go for the leader? No. I go for the whole peloton. It's priceless. As I'm taking it down, a woman catches me. She tells me to stop. It's her father's bike race. She's Tiffany. I say number. We make love all night. In the morning, the cops come and I escape in one of their uniforms. I tell her to meet me in Mexico, but I go to Canada. I don't trust her. Besides, I like the cold. 30 years later, I get a postcard. I have a son and he's the chief of police. This is where the story gets interesting. I tell Tiffany to meet me in Paris by the Trocadero. She's been waiting for me all these years. She's never taken another lover. I don't care. I don't show up. I go to Berlin. That's where I make another sign. It says Candy. Buy a bunch of camping gear with cash and flee to some sort of forest where I just rough it for a few weeks. I've never been camping, but with a good tent, first aid kit, MREs, basic survival tools, I think I could make it about 2-3 weeks. That'd be long enough to drop off the grid for a while. Then maybe I'd come back to civilization by staying in some motels in middle of nowhere towns for a couple more weeks. By then, maybe it'd be safe enough to resurface. Probably leave the country, although I have no interest in the tour, so if I did something like that it would have been my plan all along and would have had a ticket to get out scheduled for a short time later. Sure, they'll start looking for you once they identify you, but you have to expect that to take them a little time, and not give them enough time to stop you before you are already gone. Make a costume out of my outfit so I could profit off of my stupidity. I'm sure plenty of TDF spectators would buy it, as well as people looking for a good obscure Halloween costume. The more people out there looking like me at my dumbest and likely most criminal moment ever ... the better. Less likely I'll eventually get caught. Theoretically, I would go home and stay off the internet. Go to work as normal and pretend I was never there. If I had told anyone I was going, I would tell them that I had canceled my trip to the event for personal reasons. I would lay low and stay home, avoiding cameras while I changed my hairstyle, hair color, and either gain or lose weight, whichever would make the biggest difference in appearance. I would of course lose my cell phone and get a completely new one. Basic flip phone, not a smart one, with a completely new number, just in case the phone was pinged in France. I would also stay away from all sports except bodybuilding. Bodybuilding would be a way to change my appearance besides changing my weight. Dye and cut your hair, wear glasses or colored contacts, get fillers to change the shape of your face, cheeks nose lips forehead, tattoo your brows a different shape. Archive, delete all social media, act like it never happened, wear a completely different outfit style, move away immediately to a populated city like NYC, change your name twice then move every name change, get a WFH job, get a therapist cause you'll probably be in a constant state of anxiety. Cut up the sign that caused it into as many pieces as possible and put the pieces in as many different trash cans as possible, and always make a dozen zigzag motions to get to each trash can, so no one can follow me and pick up each piece behind me. If there's no sign, did I really do it? Pack as much beer done as you can, shop at 8 a.m. and don't leave your safe house past 11 a.m. Rotate safe houses regardless of compromise every 3 days. Contact the 3 most sympathetic nations to your cause and hope for a PD extraction. Embedding the beautiful nation of hell has some openings. I would have an official who is in charge of the race fuck me, and after we are finished I say, "Why did you do that, Michael? I am going to the police." He would say, "Okay, what do you want?" I would say, "To make me your wife and make me seem like the victim of the bike crash." I'd go to whatever country would be the most trouble for France to extradite me from, and just pray that enough time would elapse that by the time they found me, the French authorities would decide it would be too much money, hassle to bring in home for trial and just sweep everything under the rug. Do the same thing that the creators of Curious George did, bike non-stop all the way to Spain, then smuggle me on board the ship to insert country here, then pretend that I was a refugee from insert country here, to become a citizen of the country I arrived on the ship. Even if you change your appearance so that no stranger will recognize you, your friends and/or acquaintances will recognize you eventually. So, I'd try my best to convince those that knew I was there not to tell anyone. Then I'd make sure to make a convincing case to everyone else that it wasn't me, maybe by providing fake evidence via social media. For example, maybe say you were vacationing elsewhere and post pics, make no mention of the race incident. Then I'd lay low for a while, stay out of the public and change your appearance, dye your hair, change your clothes style. After a few weeks, maybe a month or so, I'd do something drastic, maybe go to a party with a new partner, hire an escort. If you're married, maybe you and your spouse pretend to separate. Maybe I'd fake a serious illness, get tattoos, or move to a different neighborhood. This will set a sort of milestone in everybody's head about my identity. The before me is a distant faded memory while the current me is all they remember. Hey, remember the weekend of June 26th, when Aunt Mary broke her hip? Was that before or after Wannabe got a divorce? I can't remember. Over the course of the next year, I'd spend time thoroughly cleaning my social media of any evidence of the old me. Leave not so great quality pictures up to avoid suspicion. Any evidence of the old me. Leave not so great quality pictures up to avoid suspicion. I'd want somebody who starts to suspect to conclude that it wasn't me and not leave the question open. Having no old pictures only leaves questions unanswered. I'd start to post less on FB, Instagram, or whatever. Find another life outside of social media. Become a ghost. After a year, when everybody looks back on this, the last person they'll suspect is you. Honestly, unless she crosses a lot of borders outside of Europe illegally or has someone with a house in the sticks willing to perpetually hide her, she will probably be found. With the money that the Tour de France has, they can find most anyone if they really want to. Although it was an accident and she is probably super embarrassed and scared to death, I wouldn't be surprised if when she is found that her family gets death threats. Probably a lot of people who bet on certain riders in that crash blame her, and sometimes people who place bets aren't the most friendly sort. Find a new alternate universe where you died that morning choking on a bagel, but haven't been discovered dead, so you can slip into your Altai-Des shoes, attend the race, but leave the sign at home. The tough part is getting Altai-Des DB to a pig pen for disposal. I'd crowdsource my approach on a free website with hundreds of millions of users and then, without thinking for myself in any way, choose the most upvoted answer and just do it. Then, I would make an NFT of me filming the entire experience and sell it at Christie's, anonymously somehow. Invest in different sunglasses and never wear the incident ensemble again, especially the raincoat and red and white striped shirt. 2. Start wearing a medical mask again. 3. Look into getting a big sun hat or other head covering. 4. Post old vacation photos and lament that you weren't able to travel this year. If you told friends or family that you were going to France, just say it was a different area of France. If you said you'd be at the Tour de France, convince those people you told that you're in fear of your life from reprisals via angry fans. I think I heard somewhere some fans are very livid, so this could be a legitimate fear. Well, from my incredibly accurately and true-to-life knowledge from spy movies and TV series, I would change hairstyle and color, change usual clothes. However, if she works in a company, it's only a matter of time before someone talks to the press. If she however doesn't have an occupation and the people who knows her don't speak, very unlikely. Take a vacation into a small town, best if with no or very few internet access. Can't be done. Someone would recognize me in the photo and point the authorities to me, and all my financial data would prove that I had traveled to France. If anything, I'd get rid of all the clothes in the photo ASAP. If I caused a major crash at the Tour de France, by accident or on purpose with the intention of causing harm, I'm curious, why the Tour de France in particular? Lol, do you need actionable advice? If it was by accident, not sure how, I'd probably be apologizing and or arguing with anyone who was too much of cunt to accept an apology. If it was on purpose, at such a high-profile event, I'd have triggered it from a safe distance and already had a means of getting out of the country lined up and ready to go. No running, just calmly walking away. First, I'll find a safe and very far location where nobody can find me or a low chance of someone finding me. Second, try to get rid of things that leads to the crash I have or evidence and change my identity and get rid of things that lead to my original identity. Third, ensure my safety of not being caught and always go in places they would least expect or not head in and be always on the lookout expecting options if I do get found. Well, since nobody knows my name, I think dyeing or changing my hair color would be a good start. Then I'd probably burn my clothes from that day. If I was ever caught, I'd probably have created some sort of elaborate alibi to show I was somewhere else that day. Oh, and I guess everybody that knows me and could potentially rat me out will have to disappear. Jerry at work will have to go. I would cash in the pussy pass. I'm a woman with a history of insert social justice cause celebra, and was trying to stand up against ism/ist/Archie. I'm the victim here, and the amount of psychological damage that has been done as a result of internet mean people has damaged my mental health. I'm scared for my safety and well-being. I'm actually the victim here, and you need to stop. Insert apology but not really apology, and that's that, done, and it's worth double victim points, because it's a narcissist using a line that narcissists use to excuse their own narcissism. I would post on our AskReddit theoretically, if you caused a major crash at the Tour de France and were now on the run, what would you do to assure you aren't caught? And then mull over the responses to see if there are any genuinely good suggestions. Foolproof, right? I'd turn myself in. A life on the lam can't be worth avoiding whatever punishment she'll get for this. Oh noes, I have another $100,000 on top of all the other debts that won't ever get paid. Shucks, just face the music. Why would you leave your home? It's not like the damned mafia's after her. Take a flight off to Egypt. I walk into the desert and only come to civilization for food and water. Wait 3 months. Then, you head to Canada. Chill there for a bit. If they still looking, then you take the money from your offshore bank account and you take a ride to Alaska. You go by boat. If they catch you, it gives you time to figure out an escape plan. When you get to Alaska, you get more money from another offshore bank account. You buy a cozy cabin and live off the land by watching Indian guys build stuff and buying from stores. You want to eat ramen noodles. Anyway, you invest in stocks. When you have enough to live comfortably, you want to go to Tijuana. You buy a house and live comfortably. Since you're on the run, you can take more legal risks. You start a drug ring or a alcohol business. You gotta make the money clean. You invest the money into stocks of other businesses, especially ones about to go under. You save them and sell for profit. Once you get a tidy profit, you get plastic surgery and a new name, something odd. and you get a new face and identity. You don't do the surgery on the books. You pay a doctor to do it in your own hospital without files leading to the discovery of your new identity. You bribe and blackmail to get your name changed. You pay a hacker to do it and they change it without letting your previous name go through. Next, you need files, birth date, blood type, parents. You have your too old people friends Diane and Chuck adopt you. You change their last names and set them up comfortably in Hawaii. You then bribe cops, erase the files of you from the police records. You build a bunker in a remote area. You make sure no records exist of your previous life. The chase is called off soon enough and you are scot-free. Hypothetically, she might be considering flying to a country which does not have an extradition treaty with France. By now, should have colored her hair / dyed it. I'm giving it an additional week to get caught. Maybe she was a teenager who had a huge crush on the cyclist and came all the way from Germany to get the selfie of herself with him racing by in the background like a glistening god. Maybe she had been working out every day and could not curb her enthusiasm as the president of his unofficial Facebook group. She makes a huge sign. She brings a big flag but she was too far in the back and he couldn't see her new outfit or her skeptical She may have pushed her way forward just a teeny tiny little bit and oops tripped. Okay, so maybe she was so embarrassed when he fell too. Can you imagine? And when the other countries started going down like dominoes she totally freaked out. She kept saying oh no, holy shit, and threw her cell phone in the bushes and started running as she obviously chose option 2 on the fight or flight scale. Maybe she shoves the sign under her shirt and flags down a car in the street who thinks she is pregnant. He asks if she is alright and she feels like she is dying so he rushes her to a French hospital and drops her off. She goes to the ladies' room and starts vaping through her panic attack. A girl that looks slightly like her wants to use the vape too and takes it to a stall. The girl grabs her license from the bathroom sink and leaves her to vape and heads to the emergency room where her blood pressure looks like she really is having a heart attack. So they admit her for a cardiac workup. In her room she sees it all play out on TV and knows she needs to call her family but knows no one's number by heart. She meets a kind French nurse who gives her some Ativan. Once it kicks in she stops thinking like a cross between a trapped animal and a criminal and thinking like a human again. She confesses everything to the French nurse who excuses it all as the French understand the insane things that true love can cause. However, she knows Germany will never understand and asks to be admitted and declared incompetent due to love. She spends 3 days unwinding her obsession. A female French doctor slaps her hard once and just like in the movies she is instantly calm as a rock and completely cured. Meanwhile the media has moved on. She walks out of the French hospital a changed woman and boards the train home to Germany clutching a note from the French ambassador to his Germany counterpart who pronounces her actions were not that of a terrorist but a moment of temporary insanity. The French win a $700 billion military contract to erect a 100-foot-high wall around the route for the tour. No further incidents ever occur again as the fans are not close enough to smell the ferments ever again of their one true love, Finn. Assume you are recognized and will soon be outed. If you aren't already, say goodbye to your loved ones, change your appearance, don the uniform of a meth addict who no longer gives a fuck or psych patient off her meds, and melt into the homeless population of a large city. You'll need to make new friends and learn new life skills, of course, but hey, could be fun. Hide in plain sight for a couple of years drifting from shelter to shelter, secure in the knowledge that no one will look too closely since homeless people make everyone uncomfortable and it's easier to pretend they don't exist. Once the outrage and interest ensuing you have subsided, triumphantly emerge and publish a book about your adventures under a nom de plume like the asshole with the sign at the Tour de France. Quietly reclaim your old life, retire to a seaside town, and adopt a couple of cats. Done. Buy lots of thumbtacks, constantly scatter them on the ground behind you so they can't follow. Walk on the side walls, they aren't allowed there since the Great War of '83. Finally, only travel outside in the rain, they seem to fear the rain. It will not be a full life but you will live. Asking for a friend, do they know who she is? Or are they only going on the sign? I'd live as a dude for a bit if they only suspect her to be German, and live in another country and guessing she speaks more than one language. The real liability here are her grandparents coming forward and provide her identity or anyone else that may know her. And of course, get rid of the clothes unless you guys think there's a market in buying a bottle's clothes. Still though, I hope she gets caught. Knock out a competitor with the most similar body shape as you. Switch outfits and continue on the race pretending to be that cyclist. If anybody else tries to talk to you, play it off as if you have a sore throat. Meanwhile, the cyclist you knocked out, hopefully hiding the body in a trash can or recycling if it was nearby, will wake up confused. What happened and why are they in another set of clothes, only to get startled by people pointing at them yelling, "Officer, there she is." Panic, they'll hopefully start running, putting two and two together that you're framing them, but at that point you will already be miles from that area. Finish the race, go home and secretly ask Reddit for help in knowing how to hide.